In this video, I'm going to discuss a question that I was asked from a subscriber, and the question was, have you had issues between residents and their guests against other residents? If so, how did you address it? And what can you do to minimize it? So I'm going to answer that. And if you're interested, make sure to stick around. What is going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Serg. Welcome to the channel. To all my reoccurring viewers, thank you so much for all the love and support. And with that being said, if you have not yet, make sure to go check out the God Made podcast on all streaming platforms. Make sure to go check out Legion Assisted Living Academy, where I teach how to start your own residential assisted living from A to Z. Also, feel free to check out the mentorship program or the link down below to actually book a call with me. It is 30 minutes for $150. So make sure to go check that out if you're interested. And also make sure to go check us out at Valley ALF Ventures on Instagram. Also, if you are looking to passively invest in this industry or be an operator who leases a property to start your own residential assisted living, make sure to go check out our site at valleyalfventures.com. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the topic of this video. Now, to honestly tell you, yes, there have been situations where residents have, the guests of the residents have come into the home, and there have been situations where maybe if the residents are sharing a room, so it's essentially a semi-private room where it's 2 beds in one room, and they're roommates. And in this situation, there have been a lot of times where, one resident may be having the TV too loud or too late in the night, or getting up multiple times during the night to go to the restroom. And ultimately, that other resident is complaining to their loved ones that this other resident is causing all kinds of disturbances through the night. So in that situation, what usually happens is you end up figuring something out. If there's no private rooms available, you usually try to tell the family, hey, look, we're going to try to figure this out. In most cases, you'll talk with the family, with the resident who's getting up through the night and everything, and seeing if they're willing to actually be placed in a private room, and if they're willing to pay that additional amount to have them in a private room. Now, oftentimes it's hard to try to assess if 2 individuals are going to be good roommates, and because usually you don't know what their routine is. And unless you ask the family when they're actually doing a tour of your facility what their routine is, usually at home, or what it's been like at another facility, they can usually tell you, and if it's going to be a good fit for that other individual, if it's going to be a shared room. Now, the question is really their guests against other residents, right? Like if the guests have anything with other residents. In most cases, that doesn't usually happen unless it's something like within the common area space where, one resident is really being the issue and is causing all the other residents a problem. In those situations, what usually happens is you try to schedule activities or schedule common area space that they share at different times. This is something that can happen, right? Someone may want to watch something on TV or do something. In most cases, that it doesn't always usually happen. It takes a certain type of personality from a certain resident for that to actually happen. And in this scenario where, maybe the guests are complaining about the other residents, what happens is if you want a home where you're able to provide that privacy for the families to be with their loved ones when they do come over. If they are complaining about the other residents in the common area space, keep in mind, this is the resident's home. And if the guests are complaining that, hey, look, all the residents are out here, this is a disturbance, I'm here to be with my loved one, have them go into the private room of that resident, have them spend time in there. If they don't have a private room and they do have a roommate, have the roommate come out and have them spend that time in the room with their loved one. Don't have them in the common area space. Don't have them in the area where the residents are actually going to be hanging out. And if the guests are complaining, in most cases, you're just going to have to address that situation with that family and let them know, hey, look, this is the resident's home, and honestly, you can go in the back patio, you can go in the resident's room. This is the best way to actually spend time with them, and that should address and minimize that situation completely. Now, oftentimes what I've noticed though is, you don't want people overhearing certain, especially residents. It's usually residents who overhear certain things, and oftentimes they will tell their families, hey, look, this is what's happening. The administration or the management or the caregivers, this is the situation that happened in the home. So you really also want to be very careful of the things you say around residents, because ultimately they end up telling their family, their loved ones. Keep in mind, they're in the home 24/7, right? These residents aren't really going out as much. So for them, they love to be able to hear certain things or think they're on the know about something, or if they can gossip to their families, they will, right? And so you have to be very, very aware of what caregivers say around residents, what you say around residents as the manager or the operator or owner, and you always want to be aware of that. And so when families hear something from from their loved one about a caregiver or a situation that may have happened, they will come to you and ask you, hey, this is what I was told by mom, dad, or grandma, grandpa. Is this something I should be concerned about? And then that opens up a whole nother can of worms that you have to now address, not with just the families, but with your staff. And if the residents are aware enough, right, if they're able to mentally comprehend, you have to go talk with the resident now and just let them know and reassure them, hey, look, the situation's been handled. There's nothing to worry about. And it's usually things like, maybe a caregiver's talking about potentially leaving, or the caregivers are talking about other residents. So be very, very aware of what's happening. So what a lot of operators choose to do is have the mic'd up cameras within the common area space. And so you can even, if it's recording, they can go back and actually timestamp that and see exactly what happened. And if it's something that the families are really concerned about, maybe it was something that was more drastic that was said, they can actually take that clip and play it for the families if they choose to understand where you're coming from, and maybe they want some more details in regards to a certain situation. So hopefully this kind of addresses this question. I know that there's a lot of things that happen within facilities, the nitty gritty in certain situations, but I think this question was a really good question. What happens between residents or guests or even staff? And hopefully this actually helped out a lot more. A lot of people book calls with me to ask me certain questions about a certain scenario or situation that happened in their care home. And so, yeah, if you're interested and you have care homes and you have a situation, feel free to book a call. We can discuss, brainstorm. That's the whole point of being able to have these videos and why I put these videos out. And again, if you are looking to start a residential assisted living from A to Z, make sure to go check out legionassistedlivingacademy.com. I've also put out a Proforma template as well that will also be on the site. I've also put like ADLs, MARs, etc. Those forms are separate. You can purchase that. And then a residency agreement template if you're interested in that. So make sure to go check all this stuff out. Also, feel free to go check out valleyalfventures.com. And with that being said, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I look forward, if you need to reach me, you could reach me at Serg at valleyalfventures.com to email. And I do try to respond to as many people as possible. And again, thank you. And I will talk to you all in the next one.